Hey there! You're listening to Kingdom Living with Galy J, where we share weekly nuggets of encouragement to inspire and empower you to love God and live kingdom. Hey you guys! Welcome back to the podcast. It's Kingdom Living with Galy J with your girl, Galy J, and our very special guest. I'm glad to introduce yourself in a minute, y'all. So, it's a very awesome treat that we have today. I told y'all we would do it. And here we are by God's amazing grace. So, who are we having today? Introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Kim Grant, Pastor Kim Grant, from Resurrection Power Kingdom Ministries International. Yes. Mother, wife, mother, spiritual mother. Yeah. I guess that's about it for now, right?
Yeah. She's very modest, y'all, so that's okay. It's okay. She's really a powerhouse, like literally powerhouse. But grateful to have her in my life. Grateful to have her here today. I was like, "Can you come on a podcast?" She was like, "What are you gonna do on the podcast?" I was like, "You could just talk like how we always talk." Because every time I have different questions, I come and ask her, and she helps me like to just walk it through. And so I was like, "Oh my God, I want to share you with the world." Y'all can't have her though. I'm just saying. I just giving you a little piece. Okay, she's my spiritual mom. Just saying, just saying. But yeah, so I guess we can start. But y'all know that last week I was talking to you guys about enjoying singleness in God. And the reason I kind of started to think about it was because I was talking with Pastor Kim. And one of the things that we always talk about, especially like in our women's meeting and stuff like that and Butterfly Bros Club, is just like enjoying yourself. And because I really began to learn about that from her, I was like, you know what, I need to ask her just to share a little bit. Even this one we was talking before recording, just maybe sharing, I guess, first of all, her life as a Christian, young woman. How was it when you first got saved? And what did you do, just as a single woman or whatnot? How was you changed from, I think that's my question.
Okay, so I actually got saved initially, and if anyone has had any kind of experience about being saved and really that full surrender to the Lord, most people that I know, after you first get saved, a lot of times you don't stick it out. A lot of times you end up straying and until you really find yourself at the place where what I call full surrender. And so initially I first got saved at the age of 11, and I didn't have anyone in my life per se that could really nurture me and to really help me to stay on that narrow path. And so I strayed, and I really surrendered my life fully to the Lord at the age of about 23. And so then I really said, this is gonna be my life. I'm gonna live and die for God. It's just God and all God. And so that happened at about 23. And at that time, I found myself, I was invited actually by one of my closest and dearest friends. I was invited to a church that was fairly new, and it was a church that had a lot of young people like myself. And so my first time visiting the church, which at the time was Bahamas Faith Ministries. Yes, that was in the early days of Bahamas Faith Ministries. Pastor Miles Monroe, and I'm sure Pastor Miles Monroe's name is a household name in a lot of different countries, not just the Bahamas. And I was invited there, and from the very first service, I said, this is where I need to be. Wow. This is where I want to be. It just felt, just felt like home. And it felt like it was somewhere I needed to be. The praise and worship was man, it was mind-blowing because I've never experienced anything, a praise and worship experience like that, coming from a Catholic background. So yeah, we came.
Yeah, very different.
Yes, it was quite different. It's very charismatic. And at that time, Pastor Miles and a few other people used to play the guitar and sing.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it was so different for me, and it really was a life-changing experience for me. I really rededicated my life to the Lord. And in those early days, there were so many of us that we got friendly. We all were so zealous for the Lord, and we loved the Lord. We loved, you know when you first got saved, you love everybody. Yeah, you just love everybody, everybody. And so we bonded. We got a tight knit with a group of us, and we just used to hang out together after church. And we used to have something on a Friday night. Especially the young people just loved Friday night because that was the weekend.
Yeah.
And usually on the weekend, that was the time to party. And so Friday night, you needed to fill that space in with something. And so we used to call it Friday Night Live.
Live, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
Friday
that.
Night Live. And honestly, we used to just go to church on a Friday night, praise and worship and everything, and we never wanted to leave. We never wanted to leave church. And we found ourselves after church was out, we just didn't want to go home. So we would hang out together. We would go over to Paradise Island, which is another small island that you had to cross a bridge to get to in Nassau.
Far known Bahamians who are doing podcasts.
Yes. And there was an ice cream place that used to be open all night.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
nice.
so it's like probably 8 or 10 of us. We would just pile up in 1 or 2 cars, and we would go to Paradise Island, and we would go and have ice cream, and we just would be talking and just having fun. And we hung out as a group like that for a few years. Yeah. So that's how it really started. We just used to hang out and just enjoy each other's company and enjoy the word and just enjoy being saved and our new life, because it was a new life for us, because a lot of us, like myself, came out of the disco. We came out of partying every weekend. We came out of that like my husband said, the wildness. Yeah, we came out of the wildness.
Zoo.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we still had all of that charisma, and we had all of that energy. So we just needed to channel that energy. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Y'all, oh my God, I'm just like, I don't know what question to ask next. I'm like, oh my God, I have so many questions. But to bring it back down, like you talked about, transitioning from, I guess, the world to this new life, right? Like, and we talked before about the relationship stuff that you had to cut off. Can you walk, I guess, us through like how that was for you from, when you got saved and you had to say, okay, I need to cut this off because I'm out for God. Like, what was your thought process in that?
Okay, so I was in a relationship with someone, and to be honest with you, the relationship was a sexual relationship as well. And so being saved now, I know I can't continue with this.
Right.
And he was very understanding. I told him that I felt that I needed to change, and I wanted to give my life to the Lord before I did it, actually. And I wanted to rededicate my life, and he was very understanding. He didn't have a problem with me doing it, but when I actually rededicated my life and I started to really get into the word of the Lord, and I realized that I couldn't continue with this relationship because, like I said, we were already sexually active, and I know fornication was a sin, and also I learned that I should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And so they were the two main things that stuck out in my mind and in my spirit. And I really love the Lord so much, and I know all the things that I did before I rededicated my life, I couldn't continue.
Right.
And so I had to literally I had to cut that relationship.
Right.
Yeah, and that wasn't easy. It was not an easy thing, but I had to do it. So that was one of the first things that I had to cut, was that relationship. Yeah.
Wow, that's really cool. I think all of us have those moments, definitely, in our faith that we realize, okay, this is not going to work for my walk with God. So you got to decide whether or not you want to keep it. And sometimes it is relationships, sometimes it's like different habits and people. But I also have the experience, which I also share with Pastor Kim. But like I definitely understand. And so I guess from there, you cut the relationship off. Like, how long were you single after that? Like, how did you just, I mean, you mentioned talking about your friends, stuff like that, but didn't you, like, wonder sometimes, hey, when am I gonna get hitched? Like, when am I gonna find this Boaz or whatever other wonderful guy in the Bible name was? So.
Well, it was probably about 2 years. Yeah, maybe about 2 years. Yeah, that but actually at that time when I cut that relationship, I just was enjoying my singleness. I was enjoying being able to go to church and just get engrossed in the word. Those early days were days of fasting and prayer. I fasted a lot during those days. Yeah, I fasted.
Go ahead, you fast and you pray. You read the Bible. Just saying.
Yeah, and just getting into the word. I just had a hunger. I had a hunger for the things of God. I had a hunger for His word, and so in those days as well, Pastor Miles used to teach us about fasting and prayer, and so I can recall one time that I was able to do a 14-day absolute fast, where I only drank water and tea, and I think I might have had some apple juice for 14 days.
Wow.
And I literally, you could hear anything when you get to a place of a 14-day fast. You hear everything, and that experience I would never forget. And so it took my spiritual walk to another level.
Wow.
I went in deeper. I pressed in, and I really enjoyed that time being just me and the Lord. I was jealous for that time with just me and Him, and so I wasn't really looking. I wasn't looking to get in a relationship with anyone. All I wanted, like I say, is God and more God. I just wanted to be in His presence as much as I possibly could. Incidentally, my friend, the friend that introduced me to the church, her name is Shelly Bain.
Oh.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Shelly.
Yes. She lives in the States. She lives in the United States now. She moved to the States. But at that time, the group that we were in, her and her husband, her future husband, they started talking, and they ended up getting engaged. And so all of us still used to hang together, but they ended up getting engaged, and they actually got married. I think it must have been at least a year and a half before I met my husband. Right?
My spiritual dad, guys. And y'all know the bomb.
So it was kind of awkward because it used to be almost like a threesome, because her and I were inseparable at those days. It's so good when you could find someone who thinks like you and who wants the same things that you want. And so she was like a friend that, we were tight. And so even though they were dating, they used to let me tag along with them.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was good too for accountability. It was good too for accountability, so they didn't find themselves in any compromising positions where you alone.
Third wheeling isn't bad.
It's
not bad.
Yeah. So they weren't alone a lot, so it helped keep you from getting into other areas that you shouldn't be getting into.
That's true.
So that was a good thing too. But Then, of course, your friend now, she's dating someone. So now you start to feel like, oh, I think maybe I need to be, wondering. But I still was just enjoying my singleness so much. But then at the same point, like, I'm thinking, I wonder if there's anybody out there for me, right?
Right.
But as we continue to have our weekends, and there was a lady that used to basically be a chaperone for the young people in Bahamas Faith Ministries, and she had a group of young people that she used to let come to her house. So
that's nice.
we would go to her house on weekends sometimes. She would entertain us. She used to chaperone. She would entertain us, and we would have like little orders, little drinks, and little eats and stuff, play games and what have you, just to have a recreational time. And that's when I started talking to my husband, Kevin, Bishop Kevin Todd Grant.
Hey,
That's
that's my dad, y'all. That's my spiritual daddy.
And that's when we started talking, when we used to go to these little recreational times. And he started to check me out, and I didn't know he really was checking me out at the time. We were just talking and just getting to know,
Right.
It's a group, you're just everybody talking to everybody, and just giving ideas from one another, and talking about the word and things that some of the sermons that we would have heard, just talking about it and stuff. And so we really got friendly and got to know one another through talking about the word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Through the word.
Yeah.
See, y'all talk with. I thought read your Bible. Y'all think as we joke. Get this Bible, get you hooked, get you hitched.
Yes.
Get you hitched, y'all.
Yes.
But that's so amazing. I always love hearing tell the story. And just, like how you weren't looking. Like you were just doing your thing in God, and you didn't even know. Like that's I think that's the coolest part. I think for sure, like culture tries to portray this thing where like, oh, if you're not with somebody, then it's a bad thing. You gotta get with somebody, especially like now culture where there's so much hookups and trying to get together with anybody and everybody. So I really appreciate that, and I hope y'all hearing this and taking some notes, because she was saying that she was worshiping and seeking the Lord, all about God, because He will find you at the altar. Okay, that's where the man will find you.
Yes.
And for the guys, you can find at the altar.
Amen.
No, don't be going out there for no worldly girls. But y'all, so we're gonna actually have this as a part 2, because this is so much wonderful information. I don't want to overwhelm all of you, but we're gonna talk the next segment about more so like the married life, and how I know I was able to share with you guys a little bit more about how singles have a long time. And so I want, like Pastor Kim, to share the next segment, about more like, okay, how the married life became and how transitioning from single to married was. And, like, she laughing, so y'all know this is going to be juicy, right? Okay then, so y'all better tune into the next episode. All right, y'all. Peace.